Okay, so this is Why the Sea is Salt. It's a fable that shows up in Norwegian and Greek, and it's kind of the basis for like the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and there's a whole bunch of other stories that work along the same principle. So there was a rich man, he was traveling along, and he had a salt grinder. See, back in the day, when you got salt, it'd come in these big chunky rocks that you can't really use for anything. So you'd have this box. You put the salt in the top, turn the crank, and as you turn the crank, the salt gets crushed and comes out in a little drawer underneath. And so the rich man was traveling along. He stopped at a place, and stopped at the place, wanted to stay for the night. And the person says, "Well, it's so much money." And the rich merchant says, "Can I pay you in salt?" Goes, "Well, salt's valuable, you know." Salt was often used as money, and the person goes, "Okay." So the merchant takes the salt grinder, does a little twist. All of a sudden, drawers full of salt. Just huge amounts of salt. Does it. Puts it back in, dumps it again. It's just like flowing salt. And rich man does something else to the thing, and it stops. So the person whose house he was staying at was like, "That is so cool. Infinite salt. I can get as much salt as I want. I can get as much money as I want. All I have to do is steal the magic salt grinder." So he goes and he steals the magic salt grinder. And he knows that an object like this is incredibly, incredibly valuable. So valuable, in fact, he knows he's going to be chased. So he's like, okay, he runs away. Hops a boat. Now, back in that day, sea was fresh water, just like a lake, just like the river. Wasn't salty. The man's running away. Captain of the boat goes, "Well, need you to pay me." Guy goes, "Okay, I pay you in salt." Captain goes, "Works for me. Got 10 pounds?" Guy goes, "Sure, 10 pounds. Starts up the salt grinder. 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 10 pounds. Except he didn't notice how to stop the salt grinder. So the boat kept filling up with salt. They were just like shoveling it overboard, shoveling it, and they didn't know what to do. So finally, the captain took the salt grinder and tossed it into the ocean. And that is why the sea is salt. Now, this is kind of a parable warning you to not mess with things that you don't entirely understand. There was a similar story, Italian, with Strega Nona and a magical pot. Strega is Italian, meaning witch. Nona is grandmother, so it's grandmother witch, who's this mythical person in Italian fables, who's like the wise old grandmother who had a magic pot. You stir it properly and you get noodles. So stirs the pot, bowl full of noodles. Well, young apprentice says, "You want noodles?" Goes up to the pot, stir. Noodles, flooding the house. And Strega Nona shows up and whacks the young girl with the spoon and then cleans up the mess. And that was also adapted into Fantasia. Disney made a movie long time ago called Fantasia. It was a whole bunch of series of little cartoons set to music. And one of them was The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which was based on a classical theme. And the tune is anyway, so that's the tune. And the plot of that is that Mickey is the sorcerer's apprentice, and the sorcerer tells Mickey, mop. And Mickey starts mopping a little bit. He goes, yeah, this sucks. So he takes the sorcerer's hat, chant the broom, and the broom starts mopping. And the broom keeps mopping. And he grabs a bucket of water, tosses it down the floor, sweep, 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 sweep. Grab a bucket of water, toss it down until eventually, it's like the water's starting to rise. And so Mickey goes after it, chops up the broom with an axe, and then there's two brooms. And the brooms start multiplying. So you have hundreds of brooms bringing water, flooding the place until the sorcerer finally wakes up. He goes, ah! Boom! Broom goes away. Boom! Mickey, pick up the water. So Mickey has to go and pick up the water. But so these are like the same sort of story, and they're all sort of combined. And this story, this whole sort of thing is kind of a lot of what I do. I'm a computer programmer, and computers make it easy to do easy things really, really fast, or do a really, really lot of things. So, you want to add up two numbers, add them up. You want to add up 100 numbers. Well, that takes a long time. But a computer, it's like one number, two number, 100 numbers, 1,000 numbers, million numbers. And the computers grind away at them. And so it's very much the Sorcerer's Apprentice. But where, you have this massive army of mops, each dumping buckets of water. And if you know what you're doing, you can fill a dam. If you don't know what you're doing, you flood the house. So that's one of those things. It's like, you kind of learn. And yeah, sometimes I've done bad things and crashed things because I am just hitting it that hard and that fast. And, it's like, sometimes I'm Mickey Mouse, and sometimes I'm the sorcerer. Hopefully, I'm more the sorcerer than Mickey Mouse, but you never know. Have a great day.